Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a 1v1 cast on Greentooth Gorge. It actually feels like it's been a little bit of time since I've cast something on Greentooth Gorge. Especially featuring our green little friends, the Orcs. Honestly, I don't know what's happened. Orcs have just disappeared from the meta. I'm seeing more Tyrannid play than Orc play, which is, frankly, a goddamn travesty. I'm going to turn off myself from Steam. Hang on. Boom. I know, terrible. I didn't even reset the cast. Can you believe it? I'm an entitled Westerner, guys. What can I say? Alright, here we go. Interesting to send the heretics to the natural here, where they could be quite vulnerable to being shot by the mech boy. Now, presumably Deimos didn't know that it's going to be a mech boy. But same would apply to the commander knob too. This is going to be an interesting engagement. Having the sluggers here is pretty good against the CSM, but the Chaos Lord is there to deter. Gets kind of lucky there with the Chaos Lord, instantly proccing a special, knocking over two of the sluggers. And I don't think the sluggers want this fight, no. Kind of lucky for Guru. Yeah, he only lost one slugger boy there, and then the CSM retreat. They don't want to lose a model. Honestly, they could have stayed in play. CSM could have just forced melee onto the mech boy. Chaos Lord and the shooters. I don't think they'd have lost a model, but it would have been pretty bad if they did, I suppose. So I don't fully criticise the play there from Deimos. Very conservative play. Now the garrisons are definitely problematic. We might see some grenade launcher heretics to try and deal with that. We'll have to see. Noise Marines are another option. Obviously, in the early game of this matchup, Aspirant Champion Heretics are amazing. Default Heretics are okay, they're cost effective in melee, but they're not... Well, they don't win. They don't beat sluggers, whereas AC Ticks, they really hard beat sluggers 1v1, so... It's a very cost effective upgrade, especially for your side capping Heretics, especially when Guru goes double sluggers as well. Now, because Guru has gone for double sluggers, oh, this could be a potential kill on the CL here. Oh, really? Honestly, that special probably saved him. He really needs to kill him. Can the mech boy do it with some punches? Super close. Yeah, gets him. Not worth it. The Chaos Lord will retain the XP that was gained from killing these sluggers, and obviously the sluggers are a little bit more expensive than the actual Chaos Lord to purchase. So Guru is going to replace them. You can see the difference isn't huge. 270 for a slugger by default squad, 250 for the Chaos Lord to be repurchased. But as I say, those sluggers coming out now have lost all their XP. The Chaos Lord, when he gets repurchased, keeps his XP, so... a win overall for Deimos there, I would say. Noise Marines are going to be coming out next. This is a kind of strange pairing of build orders that we've got here. Noise Marines going into double sluggers and looters. You don't see that very often. Now obviously you'd want Raptors to deal with the looters, but going Raptors is not very ideal against double sluggers. Do okay in tier 1, I'm sure, but in tier 2 it could be very rough against double sluggers with their knobs. And these ticks need to be very careful, really overextending. I'm not really sure what Deimos is watching there. Oh, he retreated the wrong squad, I think. Yeah, I believe that was a retreat of the wrong squad, because I'm not sure why that other squad retreated. It had full health, didn't seem to be in much action. And this squad was definitely quite delayed in its retreat. So that's nice for Guruskippy. That's going to get him back in the game a little bit. I say back in the game. He is actually ahead on VPs. But it does feel like he, prior to that engagement, was not really winning on the map control. Maybe he has been. Deimos has owned this area of the map, but Guru has clearly owned this area of the map. So, yeah, I guess it's relatively even. I mean, we look at the economies now, and Deimos has a little bit more power. Guru has a little bit more requisition. Okay, Deimos' economy is significantly better, but Deimos only has 3 units to the 4 of Guruskippy. One Noise Marine gets slayed there. Do we have any shooter upgrades? Not yet, but we have a big shooter upgrade coming on the way. We've got Daka for the mech. I find it a little bit odd to go for the big shooter on the mech before going for big shooters on your shooter boys. Because this gives you 14.73 times 2 minus their default damage, which I feel like is about 7. So it's like an effective increase in DPS of 16. Whereas this goes from 25 to 37.8, an effective DPS increase of 13, but this costs 25 power, and these cost 20 power. So for the cost, you're paying 5 less power, and you're getting a little bit more DPS. I think the big shooters is better, generally. But obviously, the mech boy is mobile, he can go in garrisons, he doesn't bleed, blah blah blah. So I don't know, it's a bit of a toss-up. I think in this instance, I would rather have had the shooter boy upgrades first, but especially because he's going for one shooter. Now this firefight here, not going to go too well for the shooter boys. They don't have their knob. They're aware of this though, so they're just going to delay. They're going to suppress there with the aiming what's that, waiting for the slugger boys to come, and now the CSM need to get out of there. Looks like the CSM weren't even in cover there, which is a little bit strange. Definitely looked like they were, but that outer CSM model dropped very quickly. And yeah, the AC ticks here are going to be able to deal with these slugger boys very easily. They need to retreat, going to only lose one of the models because they weren't fully reinforced in the first place. Now let's see if we can get a push down to the power farm. I might consider worshipping here with the heretics, move these noise marines up. He should know the sluggers on the other side were, you know, they were used to take the CSM out along with the mech and the shooters, so most of the army should be sort of over this way. He should know that. Now Guru is no fool. He has rotated his sluggers across this way, expecting a gen bash here from the noise marines. So the noise marines, okay, well they force off the mech boy because the mech boy is super low, but slugger boys coming out. These slugger boys are now reinforced. The other sluggers need to get up here, and actually, to be honest, I don't think 2 default sluggers can take on AC ticks plus noise marines. Obviously the noise marines get wrecked when they're in melee, but you just control them with the Doom Blast and the Cacophony. And when the sluggers blob up to fight the ticks, the noise marines' damage from the sonic blaster is brutal. But it seems to be a bit of a trade. CSM appear to be poking down the shooters quite effectively, but they can't actually force them off due to the presence of the looter. We'll see, the looter's actually mismicroed slightly right now and it's focusing on the generators instead of the CSM. Okay, well, you know what? Deimos got all the generators down, nearly got the power node before the mech boy managed to tie it up, so he's going to have to dip out of there, and there is already a blood crusher on the field. Okay. Looks like only one generator was taken out there for Deimos, so Deimos is in a pretty good position right now. He's getting that momentum started, he's getting the wonderful combo of blood crusher plus bloodletters, and then he probably wants to get another squad of heretics afterwards, just to have some extra worship support for both those units, and a little bit of capping power as well, why not? Absolutely no upgrade seen on the Chaos Lord yet. We're probably going to see some of them as well. Given that he's fighting double sluggers, I think getting the Drain Life wargear could be quite useful to pick up these slugger knobs. These slugger knobs, I don't know if you guys are aware, but if you're not, these guys are a game changer for the slugger boy squad. Not only is the knob himself an amazing combatant, I think he does like 60 DPS power melee, so you're talking upgraded hero levels of damage. He's got a crazy amount of HP, it's like 300 HP, but he also passively buffs the HP of everyone in the squad by, I think it's 15%, and that includes the knob. So the real HP of the knob is well over 100, especially because of burners, which increases everyone's HP by 20% as well, including the knob. But the knob does tend to take a lot of damage at the front, and it costs a lot to reinforce, 25 power. So if you use Drain Life, you pick him up, you do a load of spike damage to the slugger knob, even when he's retreating, and you've got a good chance of wiping him. And even if you don't wipe him, you're removing his DPS from a fight for a good amount of time, and that can be very valuable. So that was a very long tangent, but I would like to see that wargear. Now, you might not get it ordinarily against one slugger, maybe if there were Storm Boys as well. However, we currently see 2 sluggers, so there's potential for 2 of those slugger knobs. If I seen 2 of those slugger knobs, I would definitely be purchasing that wargear. As it stands, Blood Crushers are putting on a decent amount of pressure. The Blood Crusher did have to retreat there because of the tank busters. but the Noise Marines move down along with the support of the Chaos Lord and force them off. Noise Marines once again going in for that Gen Bash, but I don't know if this is really worth it. Deimos appears to be committing very hard right now. The thing that concerns me right now is Guru's economy is nowhere near as good as Deimos is. I was going to say I'm a little bit confused though as to what the best option would be for Deimos going forward. Is it going tier 3? Is it going to be getting a Chaos Dreadnought? Or what? Because there's already tank busters on the field, so a Chaos Dreadnought feels kind of meh. That said, you can overwhelm the enemy AV, you know, tank busters alone can't even kill a Sea Dread. Never mind a Blood Crusher plus Sea Dread versus one tank buster. However, there is the Mech Boy who can get the Beamy Death Gun. Oh, this was a bit of a death trap. Oh dear. A teleport into retreat with the Bloodletters might be able to finish off the Slugger Boys here. Let's see if you can do it correctly. You don't want to leap into combat. Ah, I messed it up. Messed it up, his own Blood Crusher pushed him out of the way, but that's fine. They can get on with the Power Bash now. That's still 5 dead Sluggers. Guru evidently not using those Sluggers for combat, just using them as a capping unit. Let's see how this little blob of Orcs does against the Demons of Worship support. Okay, this is not going to go well. They're in double Bloodletters right now. Yeah. Heretics probably want to get out of here, and there is more Dakar on the Tank Busters, which actually is probably going to kill the Blood Crusher because nothing's tying them up. However, the Bloodletters over here are one hit away from killing the Shooter Boys. They're going to be jumping into retreat path. Let's see if they can do any better here. They slightly mistimed their jump. Can they get the swing? No, they can't. Bloodletters notoriously bad at getting retreat kills. Kind of on par with Storm Boys, because they're, in spite of them having very high DPS and a jump, they don't have any melee charge. And they have a little teleport into melee. It's kind of similar to the Storm Boy leap into combat. If you just right-click an enemy, they'll do their teleport, and then the enemy will have moved too far away after the teleport is finished for you to be able to get the melee attack. So you basically have terrible on-the-move damage. But you can counter that. You have to use the S command at the right time when you're within close proximity, and yeah, interesting use of Drain Life there to kill one Shooter Boy. I assume he meant to use that on the Shooter Knob, but I'm not sure, maybe not. Even if you don't get the model kill by using it on the Shooter Knob, which you probably won't get a model kill, it would drain the HP of the squad so massively, I think it'd be worth it. Not a lot going on here other than Guru floating absolutely obscene amounts of requisition. I don't know the last time I've seen someone floating 1,200 requisition at this point in the game. Really should be dropping down power, of course. I mean, this is just a silly amount of wreck. Do the Noise Marines have Cacophony? I'm assuming they did, because otherwise the Slugger Boys could have finished them off there. But with the Cacophony, there's no way that the Slugger Boys would have finished them off. Not sure how well the Looter's done. I did notice it killed a couple of Bloodletters, but Bloodletters being suppression immune really negates a lot of the power of the Looter. I don't really like the Looter in this matchup for this reason. Both Plague Marines and Bloodletters seem so good against Orcs, and neither of them really care about suppression. The Bloodletters literally ignore it. And the Plague Marines get slowed by it, but they shoot the same, and they still move faster than most units, so they more or less ignore it as well. Here we go, we're going to get a call to boys. It would appear so. We've got Slugger Boys in here fighting with one model. No, okay. I don't know what Guru's doing. He doesn't have the red. Did he use it? Did he use it late there? I was looking at the red bar and not the screen. He might have just used it and it was late. No, I don't think he did. I think he committed not realizing how little red he had. Well, that is not ideal. Now, the one good thing for Guru is he actually has managed to get tier 3 somehow, in spite of not rebuilding his generator farm. And he has a shitload of requisition to play around with. Now, he still needs to get some gens up, because the Mech Boy has access to a lot of amazing tier 3 war gears. They're very, very expensive. Ooh, look at that drain life. Just snipe the Slugger Knob. Beautifully done. Mech Boy has a load of great tier 3 war gears, specifically the Super Tough Beam. Gives damage resistance and knockback immunity to an allied orc squad, and the damage resistance is ridiculous. It's like 60% damage resistance or something outrageous like that. Then you've got the Mega Rumbler as well, which basically, well, it does no friendly fire and it does stun and knockback in an AoE. And the AoE is massive, you know, you can stun entire armies. It also will destroy gens and base turrets extremely quickly, like in one use of the ability you'll destroy a gen farm. Very, very good war gear, but these things cost a lot of power that Guru cannot afford right now. All of Guru's power at the moment is being bashed, and every little trickle that he had in his reserve is currently being pumped into a looted tank. Which I guess is actually a kind of reasonable choice, because for once we see a Chaos Lord player who has no Plague Marines, which is very rare actually in this matchup in particular. Well, in bloody every matchup you normally see some Plague Marines, they're such a good unit, but particularly against Orcs. Bloodletters there looks like they were going to be wiping the Tank Busters, but seem to get path blocked by their own Chaos Lord, which is a little bit sad. Mech Boy needs to be careful, he's getting hit by that Sonic Blaster. Alright, he gets out of there. Map control for Guru, not looking very good right now, but hopefully the pressure from this tank will change things around. The problem is, Deimos has basically had a full gen farm for ages. Well, actually he hasn't. But, wait, did he even ever replace that gen? I don't know, I guess if you think about it, his tier 2 was super, super wreck heavy with double Bloodletters. That's not a lot of power expenditure and a whole lot of wreck. So Deimos has a lot of power himself. He's going to be getting that Chaos Predator. The Chaos Predator is superior to the looted tank in most ways. I mean, as far as a 1v1 fight goes, the Chaos Predator will win, and certainly if the Chaos Predator gets the Mark of Khorne or the Mark of Tzeentch upgrade, it will definitely win. Well, I mean, it will win anyway. Even with the Mark of Nurgle, the fight would just last forever. So that's concerning for Guru. Guru does have his Tank Busters still around, though. Only one model at the moment, but that's fine. Once he sees the Predator tank, I'm sure he will reinforce them. And it was a nice play with the looted tank there to finish off the bash against Deimos. Deimos now basically out of power, so he can't get any upgrades. We're going to see some stick bombers, and that's purely a purchase based on the fact that these guys are only 20 power and a lot of requisition. Guru is still floating crazy amounts of requisition. Honestly, if I was Guru, I'd be dropping down another generator on this secondary power farm as well. He really, really needs the power income right now. It's hard to know what else he wants. Looking at the composition right now, I actually think some shooter, what they call special shooter flash kits. No, they're not special shooters. What are they? Snaz guns. Snaz gun flash kits could be hilariously effective right now. But there is a Mark of Tzeentch Predator, and that is going to be extremely problematic for the looted tank. We probably want to see some beamy looters to try and deal with that. And then in order to beat the Chaos Army at range, that's where the Snaz gun flash kits plus the shooter boys would come in very useful. Oh, the looters are going to wipe. That's really, really bad timing there for Guru. He should have got them out ages ago. He knew if the main Chaos Horde pushed here, he wouldn't be able to defend it. So I don't know why he kept them in play. having both Busters and Beamy Looter is probably going to be necessary to take on this tank. I really don't think a looted tank and the tank Busters are going to be able to do it when there's double Bloodletters in play to tie up the Busters. Yeah, that's tough. We're getting a few stick bombs coming onto the Noise Marines here, as usual. Don't really do a whole lot. I mean, it actually wasn't a perfect aim there from the stick bombers. They needed to be a little bit further back. At least the Noise Marines are going to be in base for a while now. We do have some Gretchen coming out. They're going to be the repair crew. They're helping repair up this looted tank a bit quicker. Of course, the Mech Boy can repair as well, so that's nice. Let's see how these Bloodletters fare against the stick bombers. It's all about the specials with stick bombers. They've got absurdly high special special attack rate, I suppose. Their melee skill's very high. Predator is a little bit isolated right now, and the looted tank can potentially chase it down. Let's see if Guru can manage it. He needs... Oh, wow. Gets the rear armor hit on the Laspred. Damn. Who needs beamy looters? Deimos kind of throwing right now. Committed his Bloodletters down here to dealing with stick bombers, and then got kind of shocked, I suppose, when the flanking shooters and sluggers appeared, and left his Predator in an extremely vulnerable position. And now we see that Plague Marines are coming out for Deimos once again. I would say, if I was Guruskippy, I'm looking at this composition. We've got light infantry Bloodletters, light infantry Bloodletters, light infantry Heretics, a hero Chaos Lord, and now light infantry Plague Marines. Snazgun Flash Kits would actually be perfect right now. They've got more durability than Commandos do. They've got more DPS than Commandos and longer range. The main advantage of Commandos is that Burner Bomb. But Burner Bomb with its damage over time really isn't going to do a whole lot to Bloodletters with their 4 models and their healing over time from the Worship. I think getting Snazgun Flash Kits would be amazing right now. I would be very hesitant to get Knobs because the power melee of double Bloodletters with levels is going to be pretty scary. You've also got CSM, which can get the Mark of Tzeentch upgrade. Shit, they could even go Mark of Core. And the other advantage for the Commandos would be the AV that you get from the leader, but Guru really doesn't need AV. He's just took out the Mark of Tzeentch Predator, and he can now see there are Plague Marines on the field, which at the moment could be tied up by Gretchens if Guru is thinking about it. Yep, tie him up with Gretchens, and then the looted tank can move up and keep shooting at them. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. So the Gretchen's going to get onto the repairs. Again, we got more Daka drop down on the shooter boys. I mean, this is looking like a beautiful situation for Guruskippy and not Deimos. Special attack there from the Bloodletters, sending those Gretchens flying. They do not want to be fighting Bloodletters. But perhaps with the support of the Slugger Boys, they'll do a little bit better. Really surprised to see the Knobs. I mean, given that Guru just won that fight without the Knobs, I guess he will be fine. Battery pack? Yeah, nice battery pack heal. Bloodletters, unfortunately, are proccing specials. That means these Slugger Boys must be lower level. No, it doesn't, because the Slugger Boys themselves are only 60 melee skill. It's the Knob who's 70. I forgot. Sluggers are actually level 3 near level 4. They've done very well. Let's see how the Knobs can do, though. It's a tricky one. I guess the other problem for Deimos right now is he's only got 70 VPs, which is not a lot. This is too much damage to the Bloodletters, even under Worship. Okay, here comes Bloodlust. Yeah, and the Knobs just retreat. I really think Flash Kits would actually be better here. It's very, very rare you're going to ever hear me saying that. Because, you know, getting a piercing DPS unit in tier 3 is kind of meh. But this is like the perfect instance for it. Look at this army, man. Everything except the CSM just gets melted by Snazguns. And he just needs that DPS. He's getting outshot, even with the tank fire support. The beautiful thing with Flash Kits as well is they're really long range compared to normal ranged units. So you can have them sitting way far back. Let your looted tank be the one that gets line of sight at the front and takes the initial damage, because obviously it doesn't bleed. You can just repair it off. And then the snaz gun gits can be behind, just pew 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 pew. Or maybe more. Dagger, dagger, dagger. Well, Noise Marines did an okay job there, capping the natural wreck. Oh, this is good play. Delaying for as long as possible with the cacophony here, tying up all these squads. This is obviously turning into a bit of a VP game at this point. Lightning Claws now with the Chaos Lord. I guess the tier 3 for Deimos really hasn't proved very useful. I wonder if an Abyss could change this. Guruskippy messing up his micro big time. Just threw his grots into CSM, double bloodletters and Plague Marines. They lasted about as long as you could expect. And right now, if I was Guru, yeah, forget these requisition points. You need to get onto the VPs, my guy. Yeah, let's see how the knobs are going to do. I really am not optimistic. They get suppressed. And now there's Bloodlust. These knobs need to get out of here. Not with Bloodlust. Every single swing, the DPS increases. These guys are power melee. They're already high DPS. The knobs are going to get wrecked. Yep. They get wiped. It's going to be GG. Plague Marines take out the looted tank. The Plague Marines would have really boosted damage because of the Bloodlust as well. And just a really poorly handled engagement there from Guru at the end. He had all the tools he needed, even without getting gits. I think he could have definitely won that. I don't know how the mech boy went down. The stick bombers weren't there to stun. The stick bombers obviously should be grenading the heretics that are worshipping since they can't dodge it. And then the looted tank needs to be prioritizing them as well. Fighting double bloodletters under worship is pretty ill-advised. I mean, I acted like it's over. I don't even know if it is yet. No, it is. Look at this. Yeah, Guru's got no units. Don't know why he didn't go for flash gits. They'd have been perfect. Knobs against a Chaos Lord who can drop Bloodlust and has double bloodletters with a lot of levels. That just sounds like a terrible idea. Unless it's 3v3 where the game's going to last fucking 40 minutes long and you actually have a hope of leveling up your knobs. Nah, you can't go knobs in that instance. There's no way. No way. And Guru simply doesn't have enough to contest the map at this point. The bloodletters can just turn around, all 8 of them will rip those sluggers to pieces. Yeah. And then they phase out, they go back into worship, heal up. Yeah, I mean, nice bloodletter play. Nice bloodletter play. And I'm a little bit disappointed Guru didn't see the opportunity to get flash kits there, because like I say, it's sad because it's maybe only 1 out of 10 of the times that you go tier 3 as Orcs that you would actually have a good reason to get flash kits, where flash kits is actually the optimal play. But I'm telling you, definitely in that instance, flash kits with just their snaz guns, not their blasters, just their Daka Daka shooters would have been a great tool there. But there you go, nice to see a little bit of Orcs. We've got a little bit of Gretchen play as well. In the end, just a lot of chaos happening on the map in the end. And Guru's micro falling to pieces. I thought Deimos had lost it when he threw the last Predator. But what can you do? Look at the state of these guys. Look at the state of them. Alright, that's going to be all for this one, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you want more of this kind of content, check out my Patreon. As soon as you sign up there, you're going to get access to 20 new casts instantly. And you will constantly get an extra cast every 2 weeks. That is all from your boy Torpid, signing out.